And hello, friends. How are we? Just wanted to do a quick live stream, say hello to everyone. How is everyone? Don't know if there's actually anyone here yet, but I'm here, and that's kind of the most important thing in terms of doing a live stream. But hello, Michael Moy. Welcome. How are you? Uh, very good. Oh, Michael Moy is commenting as well on the custom timer. Yes, we sort of added that in. I made that and rendered it out about 20 minutes ago. So hope you liked it. Did the audio come through? I'm hoping it did. Let me know down in the comments. So as you can see today, I've got the studio thing set up behind me, and I've got my mic in front of me, and I've just got my iPad in hand, so I can actually kind of see the live chat stuff. So this is a bit different. But hi, Michael. Thank you for being here at least. It's a bit of a weird one. This is my new studio, which is work in progress at the moment. There's a little bit more to do. Obviously, there's a bit of painting up here at the top that I haven't finished yet. The backdrop is basically done. There's a bit of cable management. There's a bit of finicking with it, I guess. But yeah, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Let me know if you like it. That would be really good to know. Audio came through on the intro. That's great. Good to know. I will keep that one handy then, because I think that's quite good. I've got my my kind of exploded Apple gear. That's going to go up on this wall, which will be in shot at sometimes. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. I've been talking to some people this week about a big project that I'm going to be working on, which is very, very exciting, Apple related. Been on holiday with the family this week. We've been on the Isle of Wight, which is right down on the south coast of the UK, about 7 kilometres off the coast, something like that, of Portsmouth. And yeah, just spent some time with the family in a caravan, bit of swimming, bit of, the usual kind of trailer caravan holiday entertainment stuff. Been really fun. We've just had a bit of a break, but I'm back at it now. I'm out bartending the next couple of days, but I've got some content on the way coming up over those as well. Michael Moore, yes, the 27-inch iMac is back, and it is going to be part of a new project that I'm working on. Project 91 has not gone away. That is actually on the shelf above this desk now. That is still coming with the Mac Mini, which is the one that's sitting here. That's going to be going inside that. But the iMac, the 27-inch, this is the one that I actually started the channel with. It's a 2012 quad-core i5. It's got 24 gigs of RAM inside it. It's got a 1TB, not SSD, 1TB hard drive at the moment. It's probably going to end up with a 512 SSD inside. And we're going to try and quad boot it. So I know there's a lot of people that have done dual boot iMacs in the past and dual boot Macs. This one is going to be quad bootable, so this is going to have an older version of macOS. I think we're going to put Mojave on there so we can still run 32-bit apps. Then we're going to try and run probably Ventura through OpenCore, so that's going to be almost Hackintoshing itself. And then we're going to also do Windows 10 and a version of Linux for gaming. So that's going to be that project. Probably some external hard drives that it's going to run off of as well. But that's going to just be a bit of fun to see if I can get all of those operating systems running on one system and be able to choose them all through Boot Camp. I don't know if you can do that with OpenCore. That's going to be interesting, but we'll see. That's what the plan is for this one anyway. If you guys are down in the chat, there's like 5 people watching. We've only had messages from Michael. Hello, Thomas Rabenstein. Hi, happy midnight. Cool bluish look to the iCave. Looks great. Yes, and this paint is actually called Midnight as well, which I thought was like quite cool because it's like a dark blue, just like the MacBook Air. So that made me happy. But yes, this is the new look. This wall over here is actually where my system used to be. That wall, actually this whole setup is still exactly where it was before, so if I was sitting at the computer, that was behind me. This area here, this is where the door used to be. So that's gone. Got a new door over here that goes into the lounge instead of into the kitchen. We've closed that one off. I need to sort of make good still on the outside of that door because that is still a bit of a mess, which my wife is not entirely happy with. Just a bit of plasterboard stuck up in the kitchen at the moment, but that's going to be fixed this week. So yeah, that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be working on, and I'm really excited to see what else we can do with this space because it's a little bit more usable now. I think we've kind of changed it from having a corridor kind of effect going down the one side with stuff down the other side to having two ends of the room and sort of a square openish space in the middle. I've still got far too much stuff in here. That's something I'm working on to try and reduce it down because it is just a bit of a mess. But yeah, let's talk Apple stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on at the moment. Here we go. So Michael's saying, I keep an eye out for local 2012 to 2015 iMacs. They are interesting and flexible machines. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish that I'd got one of the 5K Retina machines, but this is just the one generation before it went Retina. So this is 1440p display. Still very, very nice. Looks nice. And actually, at the moment, this is running Mountain Lion or just Lion, possibly just Lion. And yes, that's an iMac G3 keyboard, one of the candy-coloured ones that we're using with it as well at the minute, and a Mighty Mouse. Yeah, so as I say, that's going to get upgraded to Mojave, I think, and Ventura, hopefully, if I can open core like OneDrive, and then Windows 10 and Linux as well, so it should be quite fun. Because it actually works quite well for sort of older games, not the latest stuff, but I don't actually care about the latest stuff. Cyberpunk and stuff just doesn't really interest me, but stuff like playing my classic Command & Conquer games, which are Windows pretty much exclusively, that I really enjoy. I loved the Dawn of War games, the Warhammer ones. Those are really good as well. I'm a bit of a real-time strategy guy. I like those games. Yeah, but that's what we're doing. A few bits of news that have come up this week. There has been some more meat put on the rumours of Apple and Disney potentially merging. And by merging, I mean Apple buying Disney. The big reason for this is obviously that Apple has got huge amounts of cash on hand. I think Disney's market cap is around about 180 billion, something like that. Michael is probably better placed to know about the markets side of stuff. And I think Apple has got about 156 billion in cash at last check. So, you know, that would be quite simple. And obviously they're into the trillions in the market cap for Apple. Is it about 2.6 right now? I haven't checked recently. Something along those lines. So Apple could quite easily absorb Disney and have a great content platform, all of a sudden have a huge back catalogue, which I don't think they would get rid of Disney Plus and separate it from Apple TV. I think it would kind of become a thing where you could subscribe to both and have it all in one app, and, you know, but I don't think that would be the reason for it. I think the reason is, Apple is really getting into sports at the minute. Obviously, Disney has ESPN, is one of their networks that they own. I think that is a really good reason. I think Disney really wants to... Eisner, no, not Mike Eisner, that's way back. Bob Iger really has come back in to kind of rescue Disney from what Bob Chapek was doing when he was there. He's driven it into the mud a little bit. Bob Iger seems to be fixing a lot of the stuff in the parks, changing a lot of the stuff around Marvel. I think they were overproducing quantity over quality a little bit with Marvel, especially after Disney Plus launched and they were trying to get all these series out. I think Bob Iger has gone back a lot more to let's produce less but better. So I think that's a good thing as well. There's a lot of theme park stuff that's changing as well. So I think there is a reasonable chance of this. Both Iger and Cook coming towards the end of their careers at the helm of those two businesses, it would probably be a really good legacy thing for them to merge. And if Apple is going down the lines of the AR VR headsets and content creation for that, what better IP to be putting into it than Disney? I mean, in a VR headset, Marvel stuff would look incredible. Like some sort of Iron Man based game would be insane if it's first person. There's a lot of stuff that they could do with those IPs. Right, let's have a quick look what we've got down here. Michael was saying the numbers sound right. That's great. I think that's what I was hearing last week, but I was, as I say, out of action a little bit. There was very little internet connection where we were. So on cell, almost nothing. There was a bit of Wi-Fi, but you had to go to the sort of the complex. You couldn't do it from accommodation, so a little bit annoying on that side of things. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Apple TV Plus would definitely benefit from it, says Thomas Rabstein. Yeah, completely agreed. Rod Tech says, I heard the upcoming MacBook Air 15 inches might have a dynamic island camera. I'm not sure about this. I think we've heard some rumors that the dynamic island might come to the MacBooks, but I think we're talking like 2024, 2025. MacBook Air 15 inch, I'm almost certain that we're going to see at WWDC. We heard that they're in production. We've also heard that M3 has been in production since December. We've also heard that the displays for it have been in the pipeline for a while from Ross Young. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get the notch in a 15.5 inch with M3 at WW. That just makes the most sense in the world. I also think everyone's been saying, oh, there's too much hardware to come. If they're talking about M3 being launched, and then you get the MacBook Air 13 and 15 inch, that's basically one product release. They're only going to talk about the 15.5 because obviously that's the new. I think they'll kill the 13 inch MacBook Pro. That would make the most sense because the 15 will have the battery life that the 13 inch Pro had. I also think that we're going to get maybe our Mac Pro, whether we do or not. It's 50-50 for me. But I do think we're going to see at least development hardware for the headset. And I think there's going to be some stuff released for developers to start working on stuff, whether they've got physical hardware or not to work on it with. And then it's going to be a wide release, like a public release in the fall, maybe even in November, like they did with Apple Silicon when that first came. So we had iPhone, or what would have been the iPhone event in 2012 was in September. But then they actually dropped the iPhones in October because they put the iPads in September. And then you got Apple Silicon in November. I think we could end up with that 3-event cadence this year. That would be really cool from my point of view. But yeah, I don't think that we're going to see Dynamic Island on the MacBooks just yet. I think if they're going to change screen technologies and we're going to look at OLED, that is more likely when they're going to do it because they've already done Dynamic Island on OLED. They haven't done it on LCD, which is what we've got in the MacBook Airs right now. Thomas Remenstein says Apple logo on the next Captain America shield. Yeah, that would be cool, especially if it lit up. But obviously they're not going to light them up because we don't do that anymore, which is sad. I do kind of miss the glowing logos. I think that was a really cool thing. And I think if Apple was to bring that back for a particular line, I think that would actually do really, really well. Especially if they actually put something more like the Siri lighting behind it. So it wasn't just glowing in white, which I know the reason it was because it was kind of borrowing from the backlight of the displays. Obviously, with Mini LED, you don't really get that backlight. But if they had a very thin LCD that they could put behind it and give it that kind of Siri movement, that would be really cool. If you're sitting in a cafe and you've got that Siri animation going on in your Apple logo on the back of your devices, that would look really, really cool. So Michael Moy is saying a 15-inch Air would go up against the LG Gram and Dell XPS 15. Don't know if Lenovo product line, but those are the corporates where thin and light isn't really a big deal. Yeah, but for the thin and light stuff, obviously that's where your MacBook Air comes in. For anyone that's not competing in thin and light, then you can put up your MacBook Pros against it, and it is still the default for a lot of people. Apple, although the shipments dropped, they were still like way ahead of the rest of the market comparatively. So growing market share, really, really good for Apple. I know we've got a shareholder earnings call coming up fairly soon as well. We will cover that this time. This coming week, because of work schedules and things, I'm going to be out and about doing my sales calls later in the day, so should be able to get quite a few videos out this week, which I'm really looking forward to because it's been a while since I've been able to do anything regular. I want to bring back the notification squad, which is one of the big things that we did when we first started. I want to bring back a few other bits. I've scripted a video for the iPad sucks now and it's your fault, so that's going to be coming this week. That one I'm hopefully going to get out in the next couple of days. And yeah, there will be some more news coming from the channel for a big project that I'm working on, which I can't talk about just yet, but watch this space, I guess. Harbinger says, good evening. Good evening, sir. Michael Moy saying you will see Apple gear all over the show. Yeah, I mean, Apple's already got some kind of agreement with most of Hollywood where bad guys can't use iPhones, and good guys can use iPhones. So you tend to see them in a positive light in the majority of stuff. But I mean, just look at the Apple TV Plus series. When you look at things like For All Mankind, which is one of my favourite shows on there, you've got like Newton messenger pads that can do FaceTime because they're kind of bringing some of the new technology back in time with them, and but still having the physical styles of stuff. It's really interesting. I really like kind of spotting for that sort of stuff. Michael Moy says Oracle got a ton of product placements for X-Data servers in Iron Man 2. Yeah, and I mean, if you actually watch the first Iron Man, all of the displays in Tony Stark's workshops are Cinema 30-inch displays, Apple Cinema displays. Then I think it was Iron Man 2 that they started going to those kind of holographic displays around him. But then, if you were going to have a VR AR headset, perhaps that's the sort of thing that you would draw from. You know, the Minority Report, Iron Man kind of holographic displays around you. Maybe there'll be experiences where you can do that in your home. I mean, I've got to say I'm kind of bored of the idea of, oh, well, you can have multiple virtual displays if you have this, but that's the least imaginative use of it. But immersing yourself in Iron Man's workshop and being able to interact with his stuff would be quite cool, I think. Thomas Ravenstein says, I miss the glowing logo too. For that reason, I still use my 2012 MacBook Pro. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. I think it was one of those iconic things. However, they needed to make, at the time, the displays and the enclosures thinner. Now they've gone back to slightly thicker enclosures, especially for the displays with the MacBook Pros. They could have done it, but then they've got mini LED displays, so they've got dimming zones, which you'd have to then put dividers in. It would be quite annoying, but I feel like it's something that isn't beyond the realms of possibility. It should be something doable. I'd love it if you could light it up. Maybe even just put its own LCD in behind it, so it, you know, you could have it light up with the classic rainbow coloured version of the Apple logo. I think that'd be awesome. Michael Moy saying minus 28% on Q1 Mac shipments. Yes, but that is versus just after the MacBook Pro M1s launched the previous year, so it was a huge year for them that year, and I think we're still probably above pre-pandemic levels in terms of Mac sales, massively. So I don't think it's a huge issue. I think it's just kind of annoying that that it's down because they're fighting against such good numbers from before. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Onikazi says, I wish the Silicon Graphics laptop Twister had been a real available product. I don't know what that is. Please elaborate. I think I must have missed something there. As I say, I've been out of the loop a little bit this last week or so. So if I've missed something huge, do let me know. I know we've had some talk about what the compatibility is going to be for iOS 17. It kind of surprised me when they said that the iPhone 10 was going to be knocked out of that, and then some other rumours have come along that have kind of gone opposed to that, because everyone's been saying that there's no huge changes in iOS 17 over 16, so it wouldn't make too much sense that that would rule out certain devices. Now, the justification that was given was that there was a security issue with a 11 and earlier chips, and a 12 and onwards is fine with it. But that doesn't make too much sense because they can still patch as far as they can. People are still going to use those devices regardless of whether they've got the latest software support. So you do everything you can to address that kind of thing. Those are my thoughts anyway. Michael was saying lower Mac sales don't seem to be an issue for their stock price. I mean, it wouldn't be because they're only... I mean, we're talking sort of 8 to 10 million. It's a small proportion of their overall revenues. And I think this is also why they haven't really rushed out the Mac Pros, because that's such a minuscule amount of revenues. Even though they're individually very expensive devices, the numbers that they sell are tiny compared to anything else that they sell. Now, I think Apple has probably been surprised by how many um, Mac Minis that they've sold over the past few years since Apple Silicon has existed, because the Mac Mini really used to be such a second class citizen. It really didn't get the updates. It really didn't get power, and since Apple Silicon has come, it's been a huge difference. So I think that's a really interesting one. Um, but yeah, I think Mac Mini really needs to get that redesign right now. Um, I know it needs to still probably fit into the same rack mounts that we've already got, or have a very easy switch over between the racks that exist now and new racks for Mac Minis, because they are very popular in servers, places like Mac Arena. Hey, Mac Arena. Why did I do that? Things like that I think is important, but it could really do with a visual refresh, even if it's just colours. Okay, so Michael Moy's saying that a Mac Rumor story, models older than 5 to 7 years and upgraded to the latest software will lose support for a lot of Apple services, not including iCloud. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's possible. I need to have a proper catch up on the news over the weekend, but I thought it was really important just to jump back in with you guys and make sure that, I've not gone. I am still here. It's just been quite a lot of work getting all of this setup done. And then obviously family holiday falling in line with that, and all the rest of it. It has been more challenging with my wife's schedule and my schedule to try and fit everything in, but I'm kind of getting my head around it now. I think I know what we're gonna do, how I'm gonna sort of schedule it. If you remember back in lockdown, I was sort of waiting until the kids went to bed, then scripting, then trying to shoot at around about midnight, and then waking up at 6 in the morning to get the videos done, and then going out to do a real work job during the daytime. So that was quite intense. I'm trying to get a little bit of a better balance for life and channel and work, but yeah, still a lot of things to fit into a limited number of hours in a day. So Onikazi says there was an SGI branded laptop that was a prototype that was shown in the movie Twister. Ah, came in the middle of the screen. Okay, I didn't know about this, but yeah, I'm interested in that. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Yeah, cool. I'm trying to think when I would have watched Twister last. That was like 90s. That movie came out like mid 90s. I've got to say, like, that's they used to have an attraction at Universal for Twister, I'm sure. But I have to say, if Apple and Disney do merge, that gives me a huge amount of other stuff that I can talk about in the stream. We already did a video about what would happen if Apple bought Disney. We did the Tim Cook with Mickey Mouse ears on the thing, and we were talking about like Iron Man color schemes for iPhones and stuff. And I think that would be really cool. It would be a great tie-in to do those contrasting colors and stuff. But this stuff could be getting real soon, and maybe Apple's going to have more of a presence in Disney parks, and maybe there are going to be official licensed iPhone covers with Disney characters that tie into movies, as opposed to just having colors that we have right now and stuff like that. It could be really interesting. Apple apparel in Disney parks, really interesting to see what will happen. 1996 was Twister. Julian Smith, thank you very much for joining in with the chat. Team Kinetics, hello, Brad, how are you? Yeah, you are late, but that's fine. That's fine. This is the new setup. I hope you guys like it. I could give you a little bit of a show of some of the other stuff. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on this wall. It's going to be some interesting, artifacts. The blown out sort of dismantled Apple products. They're going to go up there. There is going to be some more stuff up here. I am going to finish painting up at the top. I need to tidy up these shelves. There's so many bits. I've got a robot vacuum that I need to review. We did one before from Trifo. We've done it again. They've sent us another one which has got a little camera on it for security and stuff, which is great. We're going to be playing with that very soon. I've got some new sort of desk charger accessories that we're going to be talking about as well. So these videos are going to be coming. What I didn't want to do is spend a whole bunch of time reviewing random products when there's no other videos coming out. So expect more news stuff coming, especially this week. And yeah, we're going to get back on track. Let's see who else we've got. Michael Moy, wish Apple did more apparel. Me too. This is why I have to buy like old uniforms from eBay. That's the only way that I can get cool Apple stuff to wear. Only way to get it these days is to attend a grand store opening. Yeah, exactly. Or you go to Cupertino store. They actually do quite a lot of stuff. But I would need to remortgage my house if I went there because I know I'd want all of it. RDX Mac, just checking in now. Hey, welcome. Nice to see you. Do I have any merch? Alan Thornton, yeah. If you go to icavedave.com/merch, there's the Hello Classic Mac t-shirt. There is our IKversary stuff is on there. And there's a couple of other bits. Dark Mode always is on there. So you've got t-shirts, tote bags, all that kind of stuff. Yes, there is stuff. You can find it at icavedave.com/merch. There should also be like a merch shelf probably in YouTube if you're watching on the desktop. So that's cool. But thank you for asking. Great opportunity to plug my stuff. Julian Smith says, thank you. Waiting for new stuff to use for the business that I want to start. So Julian, tell me what your business is. Let's have a chat. What are you going to be doing? And yeah, we'll recommend some stuff for you. Absolutely. I love to sort of get involved. This is why we do iCave Answers on the main show. As I say, we're going to start Notification Squad again. If you've not rung the bell and set up for notifications already, do it now. And in the comment section, not in the live chat, but in the comment section, put hashtag Notification Squad. And when I do my next video, you will get a shout out at the end of it to say thank you for ringing the bell. That's how we do Notification Squad. And we used to do it on every single video. And it kind of fed itself. It was really cool. By the way, do you like the wallpaper that I've done to kind of match the LED lighting that's behind it? I thought it was very clever. I'm not sure if it looks good on screen or not. Let me know down in the comments. Let's see what we've got here. Julian Smith saying, I think the Mac Pro is the main item. So what is the business that you're going to be doing? Oh, visual effects, post-production. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to need the graphics grunt for that. And fingers crossed, our thoughts are that the Mac Pro is going to have multiple full-on SoCs. So like 2 M2 Ultras or 3 or 4 M2 Ultras. And they'll be on removable cards. That's our thought. That's what this compute unit that we've been hearing about is probably going to be, as far as I can tell. That's my best guess. I definitely think that M3 is coming at DubDub. I do have a bet with Vadim from Max Tech on that, and whoever loses is going to be beardless. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I think we might have to get Manscaped involved because, you know, if you're going to shave things, get a YouTube sponsor involved. Always good. RDX Mac is saying, hoping Apple surprises us with stuff. Mac Pro with parallel processing, multiple Ultra modules. Exactly. That's what we're hoping for. Very much so. And if you want to go back, I have been saying this for quite some time, I would say. I think it was either October or November of 2020. So immediately as Apple Silicon was released in the first place, that I said that's what they will do for the Mac Pro. Because they did it with the Power Mac G4 in the past. They had multiple processors that you could put on there. You had multiple heat sinks, multiple processors, and you could upgrade them individually. It's a thing. It's a thing that they're going to do. I'm pretty sure of this. Thomas Rabenstein says, I like Apple's move to more independence from China. They're just opening the first Apple stores in India. Yes, this is a really good thing, and I don't think this is about their independence from China, because China has always been their manufacturing base, but they have been getting Foxconn and their other manufacturers, their other assembly partners, to open workshops in other countries. So obviously TSMC is about to open an Arizona fab. Now that's not going to be doing the very cutting edge chips. That's not going to be doing your 3 nanometers, your 2 nanometers straight away. I think they're starting out at 5 over there, but it's a start. You're also getting AirPods quite often are coming from Vietnam now. iPhones are being assembled in India, mainly for the Indian market, and I think that's mainly to avoid duties and imports and stuff like that. But it's also diversifying that base for where stuff's coming from, and it means that when there's an issue with a certain country, it doesn't stop everything. It will slow it down, and it will slow it down massively, but it ain't going to stop it in its tracks completely, which is a very good thing for Apple. Julian Smith is saying PCI cards for Blackmagic cards. Yeah, I'm hoping that they will have that kind of stuff in there so that you can do those. I'm guessing it's capture cards, like ingest cards for Blackmagic, because I'm not 100% massive on video production. As much as being a YouTuber, you would expect that I would be very up on it, because, Marquez and people are using robot arms. I use an iPhone. We are on continuity camera right now. That's how this is filmed. That's how every video on my channel is filmed. It's with iPhones, because that's what I got. So I'm not 100% sure on how that works, but I believe that that's the kind of thing. Blackmagic cards, full-on audio interface cards, probably additional storage cards. You aren't going to be able to upgrade your RAM after the fact unless it's as part of an SoC upgrade, I don't think, but you will be able to upgrade storage. You will be able to upgrade to different I/O. That's my thoughts, at least. Michael Moy is saying that China had become unreliable, and I don't think Apple wants to have not have options if the region has problems. Yeah, that makes sense. Ron Madison, anything on the Mac Classic that you're updating with M1? Yes, so it's up on my shelf right now. The M1 is the M1 Mac Mini is sitting here, ready to go into it. I have done a lot of test fitting. I have had a massive issue with the iPad display that was going into it, which was from an iPad 3rd generation, which was the first Retina one. I think that the I think that the LCD controller card that I had for it actually burnt it out. That's what I think's happened. Because I know it was a working display before that. I couldn't get it to then work back in the iPad chassis after I'd attached it, and basically all I was getting was white in the center and then darkness around the edges. And I've either fried the circuits within it. I think I might have attached it backwards. I think I might have put the connector onto it upside down. That probably didn't help it. So I'm just trying to source another iPad 3rd generation or 4th generation or iPad 1 or 2 that I can rip the display out of, because I think they all use the same panel, the 9.7 inch one. And hopefully it's not a problem with the controller board and I'm not going to fry any more. But if it is a problem with the controller board, then maybe the displays are actually okay and I just need the different controller board. So until then, I've got a temporary display that I can put into it. It's not great, but it does work, and I have had it running from a MacBook Air. So yeah, it's a little bit up in the air at the minute. It's annoying. I've got the Perspex sheets that are going to sandwich that display in, that will fit where the old display was. That's all kind of modified already. I don't think we're going to be able to do the original power switch, but I'm going to try and find one that looks very similar to it, because I don't really want to rip apart the whole of the board that power switch is on, which is quite annoying, because it would have been great to have the original one. But yeah, that is still in progress. The next big project, though, is going to be this thing, which is going to be my quad boot with Mojave, Ventura, Windows, Linux. Julian Smith is saying they make 8K capture cards. Okay, so that's high. That's high resolution. They do up to 12K on the actual video, though, right? I'm sure that Marquez shoots in 12K and then downscales to 8K. It's slumming it with the 8K kids. But yeah. Michael Moy, thank you for being here. I understand that you've got to go. That's absolutely fine. If you guys have got any thoughts about news from this week, please hit me up. I have been trying to keep up with it. If you've got any questions about what's been going on, do ask them down in the chat, because I would love to answer your questions. That's kind of what is fun about doing these things. Do we like this new setup? Please give me a bit of feedback on this. Do you want it to be darker, brighter? Do you want it to be, what? Does it sound okay? Is the lighting on me okay? Do you want it to be brighter on me, darker on the background? All that sort of stuff. Just give me as much feedback as you can, because this is all kind of work in progress. I'm not sure how practical this is. I think I've got an HDMI, because obviously the stream is all running from my MacBook Air, which is behind me, which is why I've now got my iPad Air in my hand for keeping up with the chat. I think I've got, which I've been sent for review as well, which, this would be a good way to test it, a wireless HD transmitter and receiver. So it's basically HDMI wireless. So maybe we could put a little shelf here that I could put, sorry, if that was really loud, apologies. I could put a little shelf here for my MacBook Air so I can kind of run the stream and still have a display behind me. Or we can run the display off the Mac Mini. I did try and run it off the iMac, but this thing is a 4K display and it just put a 1080p in the middle of it, which looked ridiculous. Julian Smith, 12K cameras. Yep. John Malkin. Hi, sorry late. It's absolutely fine, my friend. There's no sort of dress code or anything. Just come on in when you get here. That's absolutely fine. Thomas Ramenstein. Well, I'm waiting. Still waiting for No Man's Sky. Any news on that? Sadly not. Although I think it was reduced on Steam, and I was really tempted to get it this week because it's like half price. It's like $20. Still might do it, but I'd really like to be able to play it on a Mac. Julian Smith, very nice. Bit mad about the glasses myself. Being an early version, it won't be brilliant. I don't know. So, with the AR VR headsets, we're going to call it Apple Reality. That's, I think, what they're actually going to call it. People have said Reality Pro. I don't think you would launch the Pro and then the basic one afterwards. It doesn't make too much sense. So, I think we're going to be looking at, from what I'm hearing, 2 4K micro OLED displays, which basically means that each pixel is about 4 microns, very, very, very tight. Very small windowing between the pixels, which means that you don't get the kind of laddering in between them, which is important. Pancake lenses, which are very expensive. The displays themselves are very expensive. They're the kind of things that are used in like viewfinders and stuff like that in cameras. Nobody's put this kind of thing into a VR headset so far. It's just not been done, because each eye is going to be about $1,000's worth of optics and displays. Then there's apparently going to be this bigger display on the front, which shows your eyes on the inside, which to me sounds like it's going to be like a horror movie. But if they've got it right, and this is a big if they've managed to get it right, and it looks like it's further back because they've got some sort of lensing effect on it, it will basically look like you're wearing a pair of ski goggles from the outside, and it won't look horribly weird and your eyes being in the wrong place. I'm not confident on that fact, but that's what they could potentially do. That will be interesting. If they can do that and they can pull it off, and it's going to have this no gloves, no external camera support. It's basically getting all the cameras and all of the sensors are built into the headset itself. That's going to be quite freeing for people, and it is going to be quite futuristic. I did see a thing today about a company that's doing like ultrasonic resistance pads, where you kind of move your hands over a surface and it uses sound waves to push back on you. I don't quite get it. I understand kind of the principle. I don't feel like it would be particularly compelling, especially as the panel was about the size of an iPad. But, if this is the sort of thing that can be projected from a headset in future, that would be really good. If you could kind of interact physically with something without it being there, that I could get behind. There's been talk of posture monitoring, which could potentially be with AirTags, because that is another patent that they've got, is using AirTags basically as motion trackers for around your body, so you can kind of have some sort of suit, I guess, that AirTags mount on, and then you can motion capture yourself which would be great for workouts or for film production or for a bunch of other stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff that could come with the headsets that I think could be really compelling, and I think it is going to be a proof of concept at this point. But I'm hoping that they really prove the concept and it's not just okay. I feel like they're going to do something good with it. That's my thoughts. Is it going to be expensive? Absolutely. We're talking 3 or 4 grand, I think, and I don't think Apple's going to really be making any money on it initially, at least. John Malkin, will they introduce support for third-party stores at WWDC? I don't know, and if they do, I still don't think I want them. I don't think I want third-party stores because as much as everyone said, oh, yeah, it's fine, everyone is used to the fact that iOS is safe. And it is different from a desktop because on desktop, people still think you need to install antivirus. And it's in some respects you do, and in some respects you don't. And malware has changed so much that antivirus doesn't really do much. But people understand you need to be careful on that. People are not careful when they're downloading apps from the App Store because they feel like everything has been checked. And just by moving to a system where you've got multiple app stores, some of the big apps that people want, for example, Fortnite, probably not coming back to the Apple App Store. A lot of people will want Fortnite, and therefore they would enable third-party app stores just to get that, if that was the case. And if they're going to have third-party app stores that potentially have different commission systems, then you're going to get a bit of an exodus of other major apps. You know, Notion could go somewhere else. YouTube could go to the Play Store only. So you have to enable, you know, the third-party app stores to get YouTube, for example. I don't think they would, but that's an example of what could happen because Google owns the Play Store. And so maybe they'll take their own apps and be like, well, you get them from us. You don't need to get them from Apple because why would we give a proportion, for example. And at that point, as soon as you've got people to move away for one app, they've opened the floodgates if there's going to be this kind of warning system of you're opening yourself up to stuff. If they really want a particular app, they're going to do it if they trust that app. But then they're not going to go back and disable it again. And then you're going to have websites that do the pop-up, the modern equivalent of the your Flash is out of date pop-up, which people will click, and then it will take them to what looks like the normal Apple App Store, but it won't be. It'll be someone else's App Store, and they're going to download malicious stuff, which is going to ruin their phone, and then Apple is going to be inundated with support requests because their phones are ruined. And not just Apple will be, but also you and me and anyone else watching this stream. Because if you're watching a guy called iCave Dave talking about Apple geeky stuff, you're probably the tech support for your family. Let's be honest. That's my concern with it. I'm not saying that Apple should be able to limit what people can download and what they can't. But I think it's a very sketchy path to go down to do it this way. I think it just opens up so many security holes that we are all going to be the ones trying to fix for our friends and family. John Malkin, top 5 OS features at WWDC. So in iOS, they're saying basically most wanted. So maybe that does mean the app stores. Possible. I think it means ThemeKit. I think that would be an easy win for Apple. Like, it looks different. It makes everything feel new and fresh, but without a huge amount, probably, of real-world coding in order to implement it. So it doesn't take a huge amount of time from developers, from the development team at Apple, but it would make a big difference to a lot of people. Maybe they could do something similar with ringtones. Maybe they're going to do the same sort of thing with a face store for the Apple Watch. If they do those things, people are going to be delighted regardless of actual features that come. Because, let's be honest, the features that have been coming have been less and less compelling in a lot of cases most years. Continuity camera and like universal control, great features. We're using Continuity Camera right now to do this live stream. However, things like SharePlay, I don't know anyone that's actually used SharePlay in the real world. If you have, please let me know in the chat, because I would love to find out what you used it for. I mean, I know during the pandemic, people would have loved to be able to watch stuff together, but it seems like it came a little bit too late for that. But yeah, I think a big, huge part of it is going to be that it's going to be like theme stuff, I think. Because Apple saw the huge demand for it when shortcuts arrived and people were able to change their images. And I think that's going to be the big thing. But yeah, that's my thoughts. We've got Apple Silicon Gamer here, although he kind of put a message and then said no. But love your videos. You do some awesome work. Thank you for watching. Thomas Ravenstein, anyone else planning on buying the first generation VR glasses? I want to wait for Dave's test first. My test will be in an Apple store, my friend, because I cannot afford that stuff. I don't have that kind of dollar behind me. Although the new project is, it's a paid thing, so fingers crossed, we should be able to reveal that later this week. But it's going to be really, really exciting. Slow Cuba, welcome. Good to have you back, sir. I suspect that the use of the VR headset could be hazardous for cats, so even if I could afford it, I don't think I'd take a chance of playing some of the likely games or fitness apps. So you're more worried about the safety of your cats. I feel like this is the sort of thing that Apple would address, and I think that's what kind of the AR VR kind of pass-through stuff is going to be for their headset, and I think maybe you can see the eyes when you're on pass-through mode. Maybe that's what they're going to do. I'm not 100% sure. It's very sketchy what's going on at the minute, but I think Apple's pass-through mode is going to be the best in the business. I know a lot of the VR pass-through is black and white and stuff, but I feel like Apple will do it in full color and you won't feel like you're actually doing anything. It's going to be like transparency mode. In fact, they'll probably call it transparency mode, just like with AirPods Pro. Hi Bonnie, hello, how are you? Apple Silicon Gamer, oh yes, yeah, you make great videos, man. Really, really impressed with what you do. We are working on, as I say, the iMac over there, the 2012. It's not going to be Apple Silicon, obviously, but that thing is going to be running a few different OSs for gaming, so that's going to be quite fun. In fact, I might have an opportunity for you. Let's chat on Twitter DMs. If you're on Twitter, hit me up in the DMs, because there's some stuff that I'd like to talk to you about. That would be good. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap this live stream up in about 10 minutes. We'll probably go till midnight here, which is in about 12 minutes time. So if you've got any questions that you would like me to answer in the next few minutes, please do hit me up. Very excited to be here and be back in the new studio. I'm pleased that we've kind of got to this point where it's usable at least. I'm thinking I might do a little set on this side where I can do the live streams and camera over here. Not sure yet. But what do you think of this version? Have you enjoyed it? Do you like this setup? Does it look okay to you? I am tired. I've driven like 180 miles today. Slow Cuba, oh, thank you so much, sir. Apple Silicon Gamer, just hit me up in the DMs on Twitter and we'll connect. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, I've got something cool that I'm working on, and hopefully we might be able to get you involved. But yeah, if nobody's got any questions for me, I will wrap this up. I'm gonna go and make sure the kids are all right. I'm out this weekend a little bit bartending, back to my roots a bit, throwing some bottles around, doing some parties and stuff, and then back to work on Tuesday officially. But yeah. Thank you all so much. We were down on the Isle of Wight, had a bit of time with the family. That's why you haven't seen me this week. That's why I've been on and off Twitter a little bit. Even over there, it's just been like almost no signal, no cell signal. So Wi-Fi just in the hub, but not in the accommodation. So A little bit of a pain. But yes, happy Easter, everyone. Enjoy all the chocolate eggs. Do they have chocolate eggs in America? I don't know. That's definitely all we do with Easter over here is we scoff ourselves on chocolate eggs and pretend it's some sort of tradition. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. And now I have to turn around awkwardly to end the stream because my laptop's behind me. Thanks, guys.